However, Chen Shun had activated his battle body at this moment, and had been activating it for 10 minutes. The characteristic of the battle body is that it becomes stronger the more you fight. After more than 10 battles, his own strength has improved a lot. Using the Heavenly Palm technique, one palm strike takes down one opponent, clearing the level. Chen Shun also felt that he needed to hurry up and cultivate the horizontal martial arts, since he had only condensed 1.5 demonic runes in the horizontal martial arts. As the levels progressed, the difficulty increased, and Chen Shun's speed decreased. Upon reaching the 175th floor, he had already taken out his spear and was unleashing the Thunderbolt spear technique. Even with the Thunderbolt gun technique, it takes 2 shots to kill a martial arts puppet. At this moment, he has passed 15 more levels, but it took him twice as long as before. At this moment, on the 175th floor, there are 3 Peak Blood Bell Realm cultivators and 3 Skin Pattern Realm cultivators with 34 demonic patterns each. This level of strength would deter most Second Realm martial artists. Chen Shun had been maintaining his state of enlightenment and dominance. Now that the intensity of the battle had increased, his state of enlightenment had also deepened considerably. In those 20-odd minutes, he cultivated the Yin-Yang Harmony scripture to a very profound level. Each time your soul merges with another, you will gain the results of 10 days of arduous cultivation. This cultivation speed is incredible. It won't be long before we catch up with Ying and the others. Finally, after more than half an hour, Chen Shun, relying on his late-stage Blood Bell realm and the Skin Pattern realm with 2 demonic runes, reached the 200th floor, the pinnacle of the second realm. This is an insurmountable barrier, even for some martial artists at the manifestation realm. One is a martial artist at the manifestation realm, and the other is a spirit body realm cultivator who broke through with 35 demonic runes. None of them are any less powerful than Chang Mingjun, who fought him before. The martial artist puppet at the spirit flesh realm was even stronger than Chang Mingjun. Chen Shun also felt the pressure coming on. The greater the pressure, the deeper the state of enlightenment you enter. Bring it on. Chen Shun activated the Black Abyss armor immediately. Black energy emanated from the fists, which were covered by armor, and transformed into a pair of gauntlets that covered the fists. These are gauntlets formed from the madness of the Madman Fist. If you hit your opponent, both their soul and body will be injured. If you are hit too many times, your soul may be shattered by the madness, and your physical strength may also drop. This is the terrifying aspect of the Mad Demon Fist at the divine level. Chen Shun leaped forward with a tiger-like stride, first arriving at the Qi and Blood puppet, where he gathered all his strength and unleashed a punch. We need to deal with this weaker Qi and Blood puppet first. However, that puppet's reaction speed was incredibly fast. It was practically inhuman. Oh right, the other party isn't human. The horizontal training puppet instantly arrived in front of the Blood Qi puppet, and the 35 demonic runes on its body twisted and changed, then formed an array. Chen Shun's right fist struck it, unleashing a torrent of madness that tried to penetrate the puppet's body. But at this moment, the puppet was like a turtle, with extremely tough skin. The intent of madness could not easily enter its body, only a small portion did. Behind the horizontal training puppet, the Blood Qi puppet braced its hands against its back, helping to neutralize the force of Chen Shun's punch. The two were forced back 7 or 8 meters, their feet carving several centimeters deep furrows in the ground. Chen Shun also realized that the array patterns condensed by this puppet were defensive array patterns, which explained why it could block his punch with little effort. At that moment, Chen Shun's eyes suddenly lit up, because at this moment, thanks to his profound state of enlightenment, he has cultivated the Yin-Yang Harmony scripture to a level of mastery. Now, by using the cultivation technique enhancement card, you can break through the Yin-Yang Harmony scripture to the divine level. I cleared the game instantly. It didn't take more than an hour for this epiphany. Since the Yin-Yang Harmony scripture no longer requires cultivation, Chen Shun will begin cultivating the cloud wandering step. Isn't this horizontal puppet fast? I'll learn the cloud walking steps in a few minutes and see who's faster. These 35 magic runes are really tough to deal with. The defensive array runes they condense are all of a relatively high level, and they're very tough. It's so tough it's impossible to break. Chapter 54 cleared. This is the frustrating thing about martial artists who practice external martial arts. They simply can't break through the opponent's defense. In addition, this horizontal training puppet is currently at the early stage of the spirit and flesh realm. His own flesh and blood have also been strengthened, and his defense has become even stronger. It's really an iron turtle. A magic rune of a certain realm can only condense into one array rune, and cannot condense into other array runes. Therefore, this martial artist who practices external martial arts is just a bastard. His own strength may not even be as great as Chen Chen's. His array patterns are defensive, not power-enhancing, so they don't significantly boost his own power. They only increase his power by increasing the number of magic patterns. Using the Mad Demon Fist, Chen Shun exchanged another punch with the body-strengthening martial artist. His right fist trembled slightly, and he took 2 steps back. The other person also took 2 steps back. The opponent's strength was still very strong, a bit stronger than his usual full-force punch, probably as much as 130,000 Jin. He only has a little over 100,000 yuan now. But don't forget, he activated the Comprehension Battle Body for over an hour, becoming stronger with each battle. His strength has now reached 130,000 Jin. In just over an hour, they gained 30,000 Jin, 15,000 kilograms, which is understandable given the speed. After all, he has only developed 19% of the Wuzhan Ba Ti skill. Damn, this is really tough. Chen Chen rubbed his fist. The opponent has defensive array patterns on their body and is at the spirit and flesh realm, so their defense is incredibly strong. He simply can't beat their defense right now. Meanwhile, the blood and chi puppet would continuously unleash martial arts attacks on him from the side. I'm so annoyed. The current situation has reached a stalemate. If I were to reach the level of 10 magic runes in my skin texture realm, beating you would be as easy as beating a dog. Ultimately, it's because his own level of understanding wasn't that high. They were a whole world apart, and he still had to fight 2 against 1. At this moment, Chen Chen closed his eyes briefly and then took a deep breath. The next moment, his body vanished instantly. When it reappeared, it was already behind the chi and blood puppet. Its speed was so fast that even the horizontal training puppet didn't have time to react. At this moment, Chen Shun had already cultivated the Wandering Cloud Steps to a very subtle level. Yu Yunbu is only a high-grade earthly realm cultivator. Even if he were to cultivate to the point of subtlety through a deep state of enlightenment, it would only take him a few minutes. It doesn't take as long as a high-grade sun-level cultivation technique like the Inyang Harmony Scripture. With the Wandering Cloud Steps technique at a more subtle level, Chun Chen's speed has now surpassed that of the horizontal puppet. Just as the chi and blood puppet was about to counterattack and the horizontal training puppet was about to rush to its aid, Chen Shun had already raised his right fist high. The rampant demonic intent wrapped around his right arm, like divine punishment. With a single punch, he blasted the head of the chi and blood puppet into a pile of fragments. He turned his head and glanced at the horizontally trained puppet that was punching towards him with immense force. It felt as if clouds were rising from the ground beneath my feet, and my body was like a drifting cloud in the sky. The puppet's full-force punch merely grazed Chen Chen's body and failed to strike him. Chen Chen stared at the back of the puppet, which had been exposed after his punch missed its target, and his eyes flashed with a fierce light. Another punch came down rapidly. The puppet's body crashed to the ground instantly, causing the ground to collapse and forming a crater 1 meter deep, with the ground within a 5-meter radius sinking in. Chen Chen did not give up this hard-won opportunity. His fists moved like machines, and the shadows of his fists were completely invisible as he unleashed one punch after another. However, the defensive array patterns on the horizontal training puppet are really difficult to break. He threw dozens of punches, but they only broke the skin of his opponent and did not cause any serious damage. The puppet master seized an opening after Chun Chen's continuous punches and instantly escaped from Chun Chen's fists. At this moment, the place has sunk more than 2 meters into the ground, and a huge pit resembling a cauldron has formed within a radius of nearly 10 meters. Chun Chen stood at the bottom of the pit, while the horizontal puppet stood at the edge of the pit, and the two looked at each other. In an instant, both of their bodies turned into afterimages. Their bodies clashed at high speed. Chun Chen made no attempt to defend himself, letting the opponent's fists rain down on him like a storm. Chen Shun recklessly aimed his attacks at the opponent's head and chest. The surrounding environment was turned into ruins by the two. Tall trees were torn to pieces, and grass was blown up, exposing large areas of yellow soil. The combat of a martial artist who practices external martial arts is that simple. It's just a brutal exchange of blows. Unlike martial artists who practice internal energy and blood, who can use fancy martial arts techniques at both long and close range. 2 minutes later, many of the Black Abyss armor on Chun Chen's body were shattered. His left shoulder was completely blown apart. But the next moment, In less than half a second, it recovered instantly. This is the underlying reason why Chun Chin doesn't defend. Since I can regenerate indefinitely and am practically immortal, why do I need to defend myself? All you need to do is focus all your energy on offense. Such a high-intensity attack was even causing the defensive array patterns on the body of the horizontal training puppet to become somewhat unable to withstand it. There are already signs of collapse. Chun Chin's eyes were fixed on the head of the puppet, and his fists were aimed directly at the head. His black abyss armor was now a tattered mess. His stomach, left shoulder, right arm, and right leg had all been blasted apart by his opponent. But it recovered in an instant. Bang! Another punch landed, and this punch was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. Chun Chin finally broke through the opponent's defensive array. Upon seeing this, Chun Chin's eyes immediately turned red. After fighting for so long, we've finally broken through their defenses. Fuck your mother. Chun Chin's punches became faster and faster, each punch sounding like thunder. This momentary opening was seized upon, and the horizontal puppet instantly became like a helpless puppet, relentlessly suppressed by Chun Chin's bombardment. Chun Chin gritted his teeth. Even though his physical strength had reached its limit, he still had to keep his whole body tense and continue to throw punches at a high intensity. He knew that if he relaxed now, he might not be able to catch his breath. The puppet tried to resist, but before it could throw a single punch, Chun Chin interrupted it. Chun Chin's arms were torn apart by the blows, but then instantly healed. After 3 minutes, the puppet was finally killed. Chun Chin collapsed to the ground, lying flat on his back. He was breathing heavily. I feel extremely uncomfortable. Although one's body and soul are immortal, the vital energy and power within the body are not infinite. At that moment, he felt completely drained. At this moment, even the enlightened battle body could not be maintained, and he withdrew from the enlightened battle body state. Having exited the enlightenment body, the profound state of enlightenment naturally also ended. This moment of enlightenment lasted for an hour and a half. He cultivated the yin-yang he Dao Jing to a high level and the yu-yin bu to a high level. His clash with the horizontal puppet just now had brought his own blood and chi quality to the highest level of the mortal realm, just one step away from breaking through to the Xian level. Chapter 55 is on the list, Exchange Resources. After reaching the 201st floor, Chun Chin was fully recovered. But when he saw his opponent, he was helpless. 2 martial artists at the manifestation realm, and 2 at the spirit and flesh realm who broke through with 35 demonic runes. It was already so difficult for me to fight one by myself. Now you want to fight 2? Are you kidding me? And that is indeed the case. 2 external martial arts puppets surrounded them from the left and right, while 2 internal energy puppets charged head-on. Chun Chin activated his full power again, but this time, he failed to break free. If you're surrounded on 3 sides, retreating will only allow the enemy to chase you down. Moreover, he discovered that these 2 externally trained puppets were faster than those on the 200th floor. There's no escaping it. After exchanging blows for only a dozen seconds, another body-strengthening puppet's fist shattered Chun Chin's skull. Chun Chin's body also disappeared, and he arrived outside the War God Tower. Will you be able to retreat if your head is smashed? Chun Chin turned his gaze to the second realm ranking. He wanted to know if he had made the list after passing through 200 floors. After a careful search, I found that I was indeed on the list. It was only number 241. So, this list isn't based on who gets on first, but on who gets on first. Chun Chin made a guess. He thought about it and realized that it must have taken him 7 or 8 minutes to get through the 200 floors. It seems that the strength of the martial artists in these myriad realms is quite good. Chun Chin guessed that if he could improve his skin pattern realm, he could reach the top of the list. The Tower of War is quite effective in improving one's combat abilities. You can fight with all your might inside without dying, thus enhancing your combat awareness and fighting power. No wonder it's so popular. I just don't know who created this War God Tower. Then, Chun Chin exited the War God Tower. The War God pod was opened, and Chun Chin came out. After glancing at Bai Mushiwe and Yizing who were still inside, Chun Chin began to wait for the 2 of them. I also took the opportunity to check how many points I had accumulated after passing all the assessments. 756 points. That's the score Chun Chin earned after passing these 5 tests. However, he calculated the points of Bai Mushiwe and Yizing. I immediately felt like crying. Both of them can get at least 1,300 points. That's almost double Chun Chin's points. With his 700 plus points, he could only buy 1 low-grade Heavenly Vault level and 1 top-grade Earthly Gate level precious medicine. And that was it. Is it really that tragic? Then, Chun Shun took out the cultivation technique upgrade card from the system space. It was directly used in the Yin Yang He Dao Jing. In an instant, the Yin Yang He Dao Jing reached the level of divine attainment. Chun Shun also felt as if his body contained the power of Yin and Yang. After a long while, Yi Ziying and Bai Muxue also came out one after another. Yi Ziying's final score was 1,362 points. Bai Muxue scored 1,602 points. How terrifying. Bai Muxue has so many points because she got too many points in the strength test. In terms of strength alone, he scored 770 points. With so many points, let's see if you can catch up with us, Xiao Qinshin. You'll just have to keep following behind us and eating our exhaust fumes. Yi Ziying looked at Chun Shun with a provocative gaze and a charming expression. Chun Shun snorted coldly, not caring at all, put his hands behind his back, and looked up at the sky. Humph, I've now cultivated the Yin-Yang harmony scripture to the point of divine mastery. You too, let's see if I can catch up with you. Upon hearing this, both Yi Ziying and Bai Muxue gaped in shock, their faces filled with disbelief. Both of them had an epiphany. Can you really achieve enlightenment inside the Tower of War? Chun Shun smiled and nodded. So, catching up with you is only a matter of time. Bai Muxue and Yi Ziying smiled helplessly. They are all still in the beginner stage, while Chun Shun has already entered the divine stage. They could gain the results of 5 days of arduous training at a time, while Chun Shun could gain the results of 30 days of arduous training at a time. It can also enhance one's understanding of martial arts and one's own path. His cultivation speed is like a rocket. It's really just a matter of time before we catch up with them. Afterwards, the three of them went back to the villa. The 10 top-grade blood pattern pills that Chun Shun bought have also arrived. Chun Shun then opened the store and began to look at other items. For Qi and blood martial arts, these 10 blood pattern pills are enough. Now the main thing is to increase the number of demonic patterns. After browsing the store for a long time, Chun Shun finally bought the Heavenly Martial Treasure Ginoderma, a low-grade Heavenly Dome-level item, and the 7 Absolute Blood Ginseng, a top-grade Earthly Palace-level item. Both are oral remedies for strengthening the body. If one's physical strength is not strong enough, it is necessary to refine these 2 ingredients, consuming some of the medicinal power to reduce the damage of the precious medicine to one's body. Moreover, consuming such a wild and precious herb directly can cause some irreversible hidden damage to one's body. But Chun Shun doesn't need to do that. He's immortal, so let him suffer any hidden injuries or other damage. In the afternoon, the 2 precious medicines were also delivered. Chun Shun entered the gravity chamber. The gravity was adjusted to 135 times the normal gravity. Under the compression of high gravity, it can better absorb the medicinal power of the precious medicine. He activated his battle body and black abyss armor, sat cross-legged inside, and then first swallowed the top-grade 7 absolute blood ginseng of the earthly realm level. After taking a few bites, I swallowed it directly. In an instant, Chun Shun's entire body turned red, like a blood ginseng. His whole body was radiating heat. The medicinal power of a top-grade earthly realm medicine is still very strong. Even though Chun Shun is already at the skin pattern realm, he can still feel the medicinal power washing over his entire body, penetrating deep into his bones. The body could not retain so much of the medicine's potency, and the skin surface was stretched open with many cracks. However, these cracks healed instantly the moment they appeared, preventing the blood containing the powerful medicinal properties from escaping. Then, under Chun Shun's control, the medicinal power of these wild beasts was used by Chun Shun to cultivate the magic runes. Soon, the 3rd magic rune condensed. Chun Shun spent the rest of the afternoon cultivating and absorbing the medicinal power. Chun Shun didn't even eat dinner. He stayed inside cultivating the whole time. The medicinal power of the 7 deadly blood ginseng was simply too strong. In addition, Chun Shun was determined not to let any of the medicinal power in his body leak out, ensuring that not a single trace was leaked. At 11 p.m., Yi Ziying came to Chun Shun's place to find him. Seeing that he was cultivating in the gravity chamber, she gave up her original idea and went back. Chun Shun finally finished his cultivation at noon on the 2nd day. All the medicinal effects in the body have been absorbed. As Chun Shun's thought arose, 11 demonic runes on the surface of his skin moved like tiny black dragons. Indeed, the medicine taken internally is better than the medicine applied externally. Oral administration prevents the medicinal properties from dissipating, while external application allows some of the medicinal properties to evaporate. This top-grade 7-flaw blood ginseng, of the earthly throne level, added 9 demonic runes to his body. Chapter 56, Tianwu Baoji. This cultivation session lasted for almost a whole day. At this moment, Chun Xin felt extremely hungry and urgently needed energy to replenish himself. When he stepped out of the gravity chamber, he saw Yizing sitting in her living room, with a lunch on the table. Finished your training? I knew you might be hungry, so I brought you lunch. Yizing smiled at Chun Xin, looking like a virtuous wife. Thank you so much, Ziying. The aroma of the ferocious beast's meat made Chun Xin's mouth water. He rushed over, grabbed his lunch, and started showing it off. The instructors at the sprint camp have started giving lectures today. Do you want to go listen? Yizing asked, looking at Chun Xin, who was wolfing down his food. What kind of lessons do these instructors teach? There is one-on-one martial arts instruction. After all, the students have exchanged for martial arts skills, but they can't master them in a short time. Only by consulting the instructors who know these martial arts skills can they gain experience and quickly get started. Yizing explained from the side. I don't get the feeling that these instructors are from Tianlin City. Yizing nodded. I feel the same way. These people have a murderous aura about them and have a lot of blood on their hands. Judging from their behavior, I guess they are from the military. Chun Xin nodded in understanding. No wonder these instructors know so many Earth-level martial arts, and even some Sky-level ones. If they are strong in the army, then it can be explained. After all, this sprint camp also has celestial-level martial arts techniques. If you exchange for them, without someone to teach you, it's very difficult to learn such techniques on your own. Unless they are geniuses like Yizing. Besides teaching martial arts techniques, we also teach how to apply them. However, these teachings require you to spend your own points to listen to them. Everything here requires points. Chun Xin nodded. Has anyone gone to hunt the ferocious beast? Chun Xin looked at Yizing and asked. Yizing nodded. I knew you were going to ask that. Some people have already hunted down some ferocious beasts. A level 1 early-stage ferocious beast can only be exchanged for 1 point, a mid-stage beast for 2 points, a late-stage beast for 3 points, and a peak beast for 5 points. Level 2 ferocious beasts are worth 10, 15, 20, and 25 points respectively. As for level 3 ferocious beasts, the points are 40, 45, 50, and 60. These are all messages coming from the sprint battalion. Chun Xin shook his head slightly. It seems that it will be difficult for those martial artists ranked lower to surpass those ranked higher. Yizing nodded in agreement. It takes 4 level 2 early-stage ferocious beasts for you to kill, which is equivalent to a strong person killing 1 level 3 early-stage ferocious beast. Have either of you ever gone hunting? Yizing shook her head slightly. My sister Mu Shui and I have both exchanged for cultivation resources. We'll improve our strength first. Only when we're strong enough can we hunt down even more powerful beasts and gain more points. Chun Xin nodded. He thought so too. That's settled then. After we've used up the resources we exchanged, we'll go hunt down ferocious beasts. No wonder the head instructor said that hunting ferocious beasts would be their main task. After all, the only way to get points more efficiently after completing these 5 tests is to hunt ferocious beasts. Afterwards, Yizing left Chun Xin's place and went back to cultivate. Chun Xin also needed to consolidate his own external martial arts realm before he could continue to absorb that low-grade heavenly realm external martial arts treasure. In just 1 day, he gained 9 more magic runes. That speed was like riding a rocket. Once these newly formed magical runes are completely solidified and free of any future problems, then continue cultivating. After lunch, I felt energized again. They continued into the gravity chamber, where high pressure was used to accelerate the consolidation of his realm. As evening approached, Chun Xin took out the heavenly martial treasure herb. Even just looking at it up close, Chun Xin could feel the immense medicinal power emanating from the precious mushroom. Just smelling it made him feel dizzy. Immediately, Chun Xin ate it in several large bites. No processing is needed. It's just eaten like a savage. When Wu Baoji entered his stomach that day, the immense medicinal power instantly gathered together and transformed into a light yellow savage dragon. It began to rampage through Chun Xin's body. In an instant, Chun Xin spat out a mouthful of blood. He vomited up some fragments of internal organs as well. Damn it! Is the original medicinal power of this heavenly martial treasure Ganoderma really that strong? Chun Xin felt as if his stomach was being brutally ravaged by a blender. The pain was unbearable. His chest suddenly split open, and blood gushed out of his body like water. Chun Xin immediately pressed his hand against the wound, determined not to let the medicinal properties contained in the blood flow out. This is a celestial-grade treasure medicine that I redeemed with my few points. We can't let the medicine's potency go to waste like this. It hurts to lose even a little bit. This medicinal power can also temper the dragon's skin's defensive capabilities. However, gradually, many wounds appeared all over the body. Even though the wounds healed very quickly, some blood still flowed out. Qinshin felt extremely heartbroken after seeing this. These are all points. Meanwhile, in the head instructor's office on the other side, Lin Hongkai was very puzzled at this moment. He saw in the backstage that Qinshin had purchased a serving of 7 deadly blood ginseng and a serving of heavenly martial treasure Ganoderma yesterday. But why hasn't he come to refine it into a miraculous elixir for me yet? From yesterday until now, Bai Muxiwe and Yixing have already refined the heavenly realm grade medicinal herbs they purchased into pills, and the others have also been refining them one after another, except for Qinshin, who has not yet brought his. Lin Hongkai was very confused. Could it be that the kid just swallowed it whole? Lin Hongkai had some guesses in his mind. Then, his mental energy directly covered the villa where Qinshin was. They wanted to see what Qinshin was doing. Then they saw Qinshin blocking his own wound to stop the blood from flowing out, diligently cultivating. This move left Lin Hongkai completely stunned. So this is how you cultivate? This was the first time in all his years that Lin Hongkai had ever seen a martial artist who still cultivated like a primitive martial artist. Only martial artists in primitive times, before they created the alchemy system, would directly consume rare and precious materials in this way. However, this is harmful. If ingested directly for a long time, the toxins in this precious medicine will accumulate. Moreover, the medicinal power of this raw precious medicine is extremely strong. If some people ingest it directly, it will cause their bodies to explode because they cannot withstand it. Even if it doesn't explode, the medicinal power containing the energy of heaven and earth will still leave many incurable hidden injuries in one's body. This is a civilized society now. Those rare and precious materials are used in combination with other spiritual herbs to refine elixirs that pose minimal harm to the body. Chapter 57 Finding Someone to Practice On. Qinshin certainly knew about this. Although the elixirs made by combining various precious medicines are indeed very potent and contain very little toxicity, their potency is not as strong as that of the original precious medicines, and they are more easily absorbed by martial artists. Although some medicinal power will be lost or evaporated during the process of refining elixirs, the efficacy and potency of elixirs made by combining several precious herbs will definitely be stronger than those made by simply consuming the original herbs. Moreover, it has fewer side effects. Therefore, using precious herbs to refine elixirs is definitely better and more cost-effective than directly consuming them. Qinshin knew all these things, but he was powerless to stop them. He didn't have enough points to exchange for other medicinal ingredients that needed to be refined. The only way is to swallow it directly. Lin Hongkai, looking at Qinshin at this moment, also considered this possibility. Considering that Qinshin has taken such precious medicine, and combined with his own life-reviving talent, those hidden injuries or drug poisons should not be harmful to him, right? Then, he withdrew his mental energy. The difference between the celestial level and the earthly level is quite significant. One is in heaven, the other on earth. How can they be the same? The medicinal power contained in this Tianwu Baoji is incomparable to that of the previous 7 absolute blood ginseng. This was Qinshin's first time taking a heavenly realm-level treasure medicine. My body was riddled with holes, but thankfully they healed instantly. Otherwise, Qinshin would definitely be reduced to pieces by now. Qinshin cultivated for nearly 3 days. He is only at the 2nd realm now, and it will take him much longer than Bai Muxiwe and the others to fully absorb the medicinal power of the heavenly realm. However, the result was also gratifying. At this moment, Qinshin finally slowly exhaled a breath of gas containing a rich blood aura. Qinshin felt his whole body brimming with power. I've lost some accurate perception of my own strength. He grew another 2 centimeters taller. At this moment, 28 magical runes surged across his body. A low-grade heavenly martial treasure of the celestial realm allowed him to condense 17 more demonic runes within 3 days. The further you go, the more medicinal power is needed to condense a magic rune, and the longer it takes. 17 challenges, all of which exceeded Qinshin's expectations. A celestial-level treasure medicine, terrifyingly powerful. Generally speaking, a 2nd realm martial artist's physical body can only absorb a mid-grade earthly realm treasure medicine at most. Once you surpass the middle grade of the earthly realm, it will cause great damage to your physical body. For example, the bottle of azure flame oil that Qinshin absorbed when Bai Muxiwe gave him. If he hadn't been immortal, he probably would have been burned to ashes by the raging flames of the azure flame oil on the spot. Bai Muxue knew he had the talent for life revival, which is why she gave it to him. For example, right now, if he didn't have an immortal body, the savage dragon formed from the medicinal power inside his body would have smashed his body into pieces. He doesn't know how many pieces he'll end up in. All I can say is that everything depends on immortality. This gives him the confidence to absorb precious medicines beyond the limits of his physical body. He now has 28 magic runes on his skin, making it very difficult to improve them further. After that, even a low-grade celestial-level precious medicine could only allow him to condense perhaps less than 10 demonic runes. The further you progress in the magic runes, the harder they become to condense. It requires not only enormous resources, but also one's own talent and foundation. Bai Muxue had to condense 48 demonic runes to break through to the spirit flesh realm. A typical martial artist at the skin pattern realm can only condense 25 magic patterns, and even the stronger ones will not exceed 30. If you have more than 30 of these, you can be considered a genius in a small city. If you have more than 35, you are a true genius. If you have more than 40, you are a super genius. 48 demonic runes on a skin pattern surface. That's absolutely monstrous. After the 40 magic runes are formed, the condensation of each one can greatly amplify one's own power. However, the difficulty of achieving this is also directly proportional. The greater the effort, the greater the reward. Having not eaten for 2 days, Chun Shin dragged his exhausted body out of the gravity chamber. Even without activating the Black Abyss armor, Chun Shin can now stand freely in this 140x gravity chamber. In 3 days, 26 more magic runes were added. Incredible results. Dragging my nearly starving body, I arrived at the cafeteria. Chun Shin spent a huge sum of money, using 3 points to buy a deluxe meal. Replenish your own energy. Condensing magical runes consumes not only the medicinal power of the precious medicine, but also his own energy. The beast meat in this deluxe set meal is indeed much better than that in the regular set meal, and it is also more helpful to one's martial arts. After finishing the meal, Chun Shin felt his qi and blood increase by more than 20 points. Chun Shin, I challenge you. Chun Shin, who had just finished eating and was about to take his dishes to the recycling area, stopped and looked at the person behind him who had challenged him. It was a girl's voice. Chun Shin remembered this person, Yan Xiaowei, who was 9th on the list. Today is Saturday, and tomorrow is the first week's rankings will be finalized. It seems that Yan Xiaowei is not satisfied with her 9th place ranking and wants to go further to gain more ranking points after the final rankings are set. Chun Shin smiled. I was just planning to challenge the person in front of me today. Chun Shin himself didn't even know how strong he was now. Others grow stronger in months, but Chun Shin grows stronger in days. If I were you, I wouldn't rush to challenge me. Instead, I would wait until I had defeated others before challenging me. Chun Shin smiled and said something to Yan Xiaowei. Whether she would listen or not was up to her. If the other party is determined to challenge him, then he will have no choice but to show them what it means to be ruthless and cruel. Yan Xiaowei frowned slightly upon hearing Chun Shin's words. Are you going to challenge the person in front of you? So, what's your decision? Yan Xiaowei shook her head slightly. Then I'll wait until you've finished your challenge before we talk. As a member of the family, she was quite quick-witted and not stupid. Let's see how strong Chun Shin is now before we talk about it. Chun Shin smiled wryly, thinking that Yan Xiaowei was a reckless person. After putting down the cutlery, Chun Shin walked out, with Yan Xiaowei following behind him. Behind the two, there were many more people. Their conversation in the cafeteria was overheard by many people, who all wanted to see the battle between the top 10. Chun Shin was also thinking about who to fight. A few days ago, he saw Deng Yonghui, who came in 6th place, perform the same in the gravity test. Even if his combat strength was stronger than mine a few days ago, I am now definitely going to surpass him. Therefore, Deng Yonghui is no longer his opponent. Then go and challenge the 5th-ranked player ahead of Deng Yonghui. Where is Lu Hongzhen? Does anyone know? Chapter 58, Building on the Past and Ushering in the Future, creating the 5th strike of the Thunder Spear technique. Chun Shin didn't know where the other person lived, so he could only ask the others behind him. When they heard that Chun Shin was going to challenge Lu Hongzhen, who was ranked 5th, the people behind him were shocked. Should we directly challenge 2 people? Yan Xiaowei was also wondering if Chun Shin had a fever. I know. I'll take you there. Some people, not wanting to miss out on the excitement, directly led the way for Chun Shin. Upon arriving at the villa area, led by that person, we arrived at Lu Hongzhen's villa. Lu Hongzhen, either surrender or come out. Chen Shin shouted loudly at the villa where Lu Hongjin was, showing no regard for Lu Hongjin's feelings. If he has real power and doesn't show it off in public, would he still be Chen Shun? Court death. A deep, angry voice came from inside the villa. A few seconds later, Lu Hongjin walked out, holding a long knife. He was just practicing a low-grade Heavenly Realm sword technique that he had recently acquired, and he was furious when Chen Shun interrupted him. Lu Hongjin stood in front of the gate, his powerful aura growing stronger and stronger as it spread. Stop bluffing, and let's have a fight. Chen Shun looked at the other person with a blank expression. Since you want the challenge, then you'll be my test subject. Lu Hongjin flicked his blade, and a blade aura formed from his blood and chi struck the ground, leaving a 10-meter long and more than 1-meter deep gash. Then come and try, and see if I can chip your knife first, or if you can knock me down. Lu Hongjin suddenly pushed off the ground, his whole body like a tiger emerging from the mountain, the long knife in his hand wrapped with streaks of bright red blood. Sky-splitting moon-shattering slash. Lu Hongjin leaped into the air in front of Chen Shun, raising his long sword high with both hands, and the chi and blood on the sword condensed. A 3-meter-long sword of vital energy condensed, and then slashed down in an instant. It was so fast that it was difficult for anyone to react. However, Chen Shin's reaction speed is unmatched by ordinary people. His fists and arms were now wrapped in jet-black demonic energy, forming gauntlets and arm guards. Let me show you my madman's fist. Lu Hongjin's move focused on speed and power, and Chen Shin could only use the mad demon fist at this moment, having no time to take out his spear and use his spear techniques. We should still take the proper attitude towards low-grade celestial-level martial arts techniques. Ridiculous. Trying to fight my blade with your fists. Lu Hongjin saw Chen Shin raise his fists and looked at him with a mocking expression. But the next moment, he was dumbfounded. Chen Shun unleashed 5 consecutive punches in an instant, directly shattering Lu Hongjin's powerful blood and chi longsword attack. Having only entry-level, low-grade celestial-level martial arts skills is not enough. Chen Shun didn't even glance at the other person. He just stared at his own fist. Then she looked up at Lu Hongjin. If this is all you've got, then you might as well give up. As soon as Chen Shin finished speaking, his body instantly used the cloud-flowing step to move at lightning speed. Before Lu Hongjin could even react, a powerful fist slammed down on his back. Lu Hongjin quickly turned around and used the blade of his knife to deflect Chen Shin's fierce punch. Even before he touched it, he could feel the fear emanating from the depths of his own soul. Clang! The fist, enveloped in a madman's intent, slammed into Lu Hongjin's longsword, creating a violent spark. Lu Hongjin's body could not withstand the powerful punch, and his feet slid backward for 5 or 6 meters before finally coming to a stop. Both arms were trembling, and the webs between the thumb and forefinger of both hands were completely torn. Most importantly, for some reason, some black energy had appeared on his arms. These black energies all came from Chen Shin's fist. That is precisely the meaning of madness. At this moment, these frenzied desires were vying to squeeze into Lu Hongjin's arms. Hateful. Lu Hongjin gritted his teeth and glared angrily at Chen Shun. Thunderous wind-breaking blade. Lu Hongjin refused to believe that he, the genius of the Lu family, would be defeated by someone with a lower cultivation level than himself, so he unleashed the low-grade Heavenly Dome level martial skill that he had already learned in the Lu family. The sky-splitting moon-shattering slash he just used was something he learned yesterday under Lin Hongcai's tutelage, and it cost him 100 points. I am not yet proficient in that martial art. But the martial arts technique I'm using now is one I've been learning for several months. I don't believe I can't beat Chen Shun. Oh, a low-grade celestial level martial skill at the entry level, not bad. Let's have another go. Throughout the entire battle, Chen Shin remained calm and composed. Seeing that Lu Hongjin had used another low-grade Heavenly Realm martial skill, he also made a punching motion. Lu Hongjin's long sword was imbued with both blood and lightning, and the lightning danced on the blade, transforming it into a lightning-sharp blade. Then Lu Hongjin unleashed a speed-based martial skill, rapidly attacking Chen Shin. With each step he took, he would unleash a lightning blade. With 5 steps forward, 5 beams of lightning-infused blade light slashed towards Chen Shin. Looking at the power of thunder, Chen Shin put away his mad demon fist and took out the earth-level spear that Bai Muxue had given him. Then he took a step back, made a gun-drawing motion, and instantly unleashed the Thunderbolt Spear technique at the advanced level. His current Thunderbolt Spear technique is only at the advanced level, which is because he doesn't have much time to spend practicing martial arts. There is still a disadvantage in using a high-grade earthly realm martial skill to fight against a low-grade heavenly realm martial skill. However, the opponent only has a proficiency level of the entry level, while I have reached the mastery level of my own martial arts. Chen wanted to use the power of the opponent's Thunderblade technique to elevate his own Thunder Spear technique to the divine level. First shot, Lightning. Second shot, Lightning Strike. Third shot, Thunder Fury. Fourth shot, Thunderstorm. With 2 shots, he shattered one of the opponent's lightning blades. With a third shot, he shattered another, and with a fourth shot, he shattered yet another. But at this moment, Lu Hongjin was still continuously unleashing thunderous blade light, and the power of the thunder was growing stronger and stronger. Chen Shun was equally unyielding, unleashing his fourth shot, and then continuously unleashing Thunderstorm. Each shot could shatter a lightning blade of light from the opponent. Chen Shen was also someone who knew how to seize opportunities. He directly activated the Comprehension Battle Body and instantly entered a state of enlightenment. Carefully perceive the difference between the opponent's lightning power and your own lightning power. After enduring more than 10 blows from his opponent, Chen Shen finally understood. One's own lightning power represents the berserk nature of lightning itself, while the opponent's lightning power represents the relentless and destructive attack attribute of lightning. Instantly, Chen Shen's eyes brightened considerably, and he abruptly raised his head to look at Lu Hongjin in front of him. Fifth shot, Thunder Dragon. Chapter 59 Hunting Ferocious Beasts. After the fourth thunderstorm, the explosive power of lightning spread around Chen Shun. This fifth shot mobilized the lightning power that was spreading around him and waiting to dissipate. Martial Universe. The surrounding lightning power gradually flowed as Chen Shen's spear tip danced, and then, under the swing of the spear, it formed a lightning dragon composed of blue lightning. Chen Shun directly created the fifth strike of the Thunder Spear technique. Sensing this aura, Lin Hongkai and Hong Zishuan appeared high in the sky. Is this the terrifying aspect of the Comprehension Battle Body? It allows one to directly continue and create new martial arts techniques from others. Lin Hongkai was also slightly surprised. Thunderbolt Spear Technique is a D-level martial art that has existed for a long time. Previously, they were only of the upper grade earthly throne level, but now, after Chen Shun created the fifth spear, they have reached the upper grade earthly throne level. At this moment, Chen Shun has also elevated the Thunder Spear technique to the divine level. In addition, his self-created fifth spear, the Thunder Dragon, a thunder dragon 7 or 8 meters long, roared and howled in the sky, with thunder surging, and then charged directly at Lu Hongjin. Seeing Chen Shun unleash such terrifying martial arts skills, Lu Hongjin was also extremely shocked, and quickly unleashed 6 more lightning blades. But it was too late at this point. His martial skill was only a low-grade Heavenly Realm level martial skill at the entry level, which was no match for Chen Shen's top-grade Earthly Realm level attack at the Divine Realm level. Moreover, Chen Shen's own strength was already much greater than his. He had only spent some time with him just now in order to comprehend martial arts techniques. Let's end it here, it's pretty boring. He even casually uttered a pretentious remark. The Thunder Dragon charged wildly, destroying all the thunderous blades in its path. At this moment, the Thunder Dragon contained the fury of thunder and powerful attack attributes. This was something Lu Hongjin was not capable of resisting at this moment. Lei Long arrived in front of Lu Hongjin and crashed headfirst into him before dissipating into scattered bolts of lightning. Chen Shen ultimately decided to let it go. Lu Hongjin helped him improve his skills, so he couldn't be so unkind as to seriously injure him. Could he? It only caused him minor injuries. However, even this minor injury mentioned by Chen Shun was enough to make Lu Hongjin faint. Throughout the entire battle, Chen Shen appeared completely at ease, showing no sign of panic or emotion. He then looked at Yin Xiaowei, who was not far away. So what about you? Do you want to challenge me? Are you kidding me? You're already this strong. Why would I challenge you? Am I out of my mind? Yin Xiaowei turned around and left immediately, deciding to challenge Zhang Haolin instead. Zhang Haolin only broke through to the manifestation realm in the last half-month. He only has this strength because of the quality of his Xian-level top-grade blood and Qi. However, her blood and Qi quality has now reached the upper grade of the Xian level. Coupled with her own martial arts skills, and the fact that she broke through to the manifestation realm before Zhang Haolin, she is definitely no worse than Zhang Haolin. After challenging Lu Hongjin, Chen Shen also left. I've used up today's challenge. I'll try again tomorrow. But who should we challenge? The fact that he could defeat Lu Hongjin without activating his battle body and Black Abyss armor shows that Lu Hongjin is now considered relatively weak to him. Then let's challenge Jiang Wenrui, who's in third place, tomorrow. Qinshin felt that since Lu Hongjin was so weak, the fourth-ranked person must also be relatively weak, so there was no point in fighting him. He decided to challenge the third-ranked person directly instead. Third place was his limit. After all, neither Yixing nor Bai Muxue are people he can challenge at present. Upon arriving at Bai Muxue's location, Qinshin discovered that she was still diligently cultivating in the gravity chamber. The entire gravity chamber was enveloped in ice, and just by getting close, Qinshin felt a chill that penetrated to the bone. Then they went to Yixing's side. Yixing was also training in the gravity chamber. Unlike the icy atmosphere around Bai Muxue's area, Yixing's gravity chamber was filled with endless purple-pink spiritual energy. This is Yixing's innate spiritual attribute. It possesses a powerful allure. Seeing that both women were in seclusion cultivating, Qinshin was a little bored by himself, with no one to talk to. I will work hard too. Since I don't have any points to exchange for resources right now, I'll go earn some. Qinshin chose to hunt ferocious beasts in the mountains outside the sprint camp. Now, hunting ferocious beasts is the only way for him to quickly gain points. Just pack up and go. I went outside alone. Because there is a ley line beneath the Duanyu Mountains, which is rich in spiritual energy, the trees in the Duanyu Mountains are all very tall. Sometimes, if you have good luck, you might even encounter rare and precious treasures. Because all the powerful ferocious beasts around the base have been cleared out, leaving only some weaker ones. Upon entering the forest, Qinshin took out his low-grade sky-level weapon, the fire-tipped spear, which he had never used before. The spear is 2.5 meters long, and its entire body is red and black with flame patterns on it, making it look very majestic and imposing. And this fire-tipped spear truly lives up to its name. Just by holding it in your hand, you can feel the intense flames emanating from within. If you use a fire attribute spear technique, it will definitely have a power boost. However, Qinshin currently only has 2 spear techniques. One is the Thunderbolt spear technique, which is of the thunder attribute, and the other is the heaven-shattering strike, which he hasn't learned yet, but isn't of the fire attribute either. The further away from the base they went, the more they could hear the roars of ferocious beasts emanating from the deep mountains and forests. Qinshin gradually became excited as well. In these deep mountains, I should be able to fight these ferocious beasts to my heart's content, right? Holding a fire-tipped spear, he leaped up and landed on a tall tree, where he could see in all directions and hear from all sides. Look for signs of ferocious beasts. But before he could even begin searching for the ferocious beast, it came to him on its own. A huge, jet-black bird suddenly descended from the sky. The sharp beak was aimed at Qinshin's head. Qinshin instantly sensed the danger, his expression turning sarcastic. Rubbish! With a casual, forceful swing of his spear, a long tail of flame erupted from the shaft, the powerful force cleaving the attacking bird in two. Looking at the completely dead beast, Qinshin took out the crystal core from its head. The crystal core was black and was still emitting wisps of black energy, looking somewhat like a lustrous black ore. A mid-stage level 2 ferocious beast, 15 points earned. Qinshin glanced at the corpse on the ground and continued forward. He didn't recognize the ferocious beast. Before long, Qinshin continued his journey, and he already had 8 crystal cores in his pocket, all of them level 2, but he had not encountered any level 3 ferocious beasts. Just as the books described, these ferocious beasts were completely mindless, knowing only how to eat and kill. They kill anyone they see, no matter how strong the opponent is. They rush in even if it's like moths to a flame. Chapter 62 Money-Giving Boys. Qinshin was also feeling a bit bored. Every time a ferocious beast appears, it's killed with a single shot, so there's no sense of combat experience at all. Having experienced the benefits of several moments of enlightenment, Qinshin is now eager to fight, enter another period of enlightenment, and cultivate again. Roar! At this moment, Qinshin heard a majestic roar coming from ahead. Judging from the penetrating power of the sound, it should be of a high grade, probably around level 3. Qinshin immediately smiled and rushed over. They arrived at the place where the roar had come from and began searching. After searching for a while, they finally found the ferocious beast on a small mound. At this moment, Qinshin stood on top of the small mound, while the ferocious beast lay prostrate below it, resting. Sensing Qinshin's presence, the ferocious beast resembling a tiger raised its head and dared to meet Qinshin's gaze. Roar! Instantly, the ferocious beast stood up and roared at Qinshin. His face was fierce, and his fangs were bared. Chun Shin also laughed, pointing his spear directly at the ferocious beast in front of him from above. A black fiend tiger at the mid-stage of level 3. Not bad, not bad. Before the ferocious beast could attack, Chun Shin had already pushed off the ground with both feet and leaped high into the air. The small mound of earth beneath their feet burst open. He then rose into the air, raised his spear high, and slashed it down at the black tiger beneath him. Fight the black tiger with brute force. Black tiger was not afraid at all. He raised his right palm and slapped it with all his might towards Chun Shin, who was high above, trying to smash Chun Shin to pieces with one blow. The spear and the tiger's paw collided. A powerful aura stirred up a storm. Chun Shin looked at the black tiger in front of him with a slight surprise. Unexpectedly, the opponent's power was actually able to rival his. His full-force strike in his normal state can weigh as much as 110,000 Jin. If you activate the battle body and black abyss armor, you can increase your strength to 150,000 Jin. Chun Shin smiled and increased his strength, putting all his power into the spear. The black fiend tiger was also struggling. Its paws were gradually descending, and bloodstains appeared on them. Even his own body couldn't withstand the sharpness of this celestial-level martial skill. Chun Shin turned around and landed on the ground, unleashing the thunder spear technique. With the enhancement of martial arts skills, the power of this spear was greatly increased. In addition, with the attribute of lightning, the black fiend tiger was directly sent flying by this spear. After landing steadily on the ground, it slid a distance, leaving a long bloodstain on its body. Chun Shin also didn't want to continue. He unleashed 2 shots in quick succession, charging towards the black fiend tiger. By the time he reached the black fiend tiger, it was already the 5th shot. A thunder dragon roared out, and a battle ensued between the dragon and the tiger. When the dragon and the tiger clashed, the dragon ultimately emerged victorious. The black fiend tiger was sent flying dozens of meters away by the thunder dragon, crashing heavily to the ground, covered in blood, barely breathing. Chun Shin slowly approached the black fiend tiger and was about to deliver the final blow when a flying sword suddenly appeared beside him, ending the black fiend tiger's life. Chun Shin stopped what he was doing and looked in the direction from which the long sword had just flown. There were 2 people standing on a large rock. 2 boys. Chun Shin even knew one of them. Zhang Haolin. And who is this guy next to you? Chun Shin glanced at the 2 of them, then at the corpse of the black fiend tiger beside him. It seems they guessed what the other party wanted. Admire your courage. Upon hearing this, a question mark appeared above Chun Shin's head. Didn't you go back to base today? He asked Zhang Haolin a question. So what if you didn't go back? Hand over all the crystal cores you have. You're only ranked 8th, while I'm 7th. As for the person next to me, he's even 4th, Yu Tianyao. If you don't want to suffer a beating, you'd better hurry up and do it. Otherwise, I don't mind taking out the humiliation I suffered at by Mushue's hands on you. Zhang Haolin stared at Chun Shin with a gloomy expression. Previously, Bai Mushue had made him look like a pathetic loser in front of so many people, and he knew he couldn't beat Bai Mushue. But now that he had met Bai Mushue's sweetheart, how could he not be able to beat Chun Shin, who was ranked below him? Chun Shin shrugged, then looked at Yu Tianyao next to Zhang Haolin. And you, Yu Tianyao, are you going to team up with Zhang Haolin to steal my crystal core? Yu Tianyao smiled and said, In the wild, everything depends on your own methods. It's no use complaining when you get back to the base. You can only blame your bad luck for running into the 2 of us. Upon hearing this, Chun Shin breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the 2 of them with a smile. Since the 2 of them have come to him, Chun Shin is not going to let them go. Neither of them has returned to the base today, so they should have quite a few crystal cores on them, right? I really have to thank you 2 money-bringing boys. As soon as he finished speaking, Chun Shin activated his battle body technique to quickly end the battle, not wanting either of them to escape. Upon sensing the powerful aura emanating from Chun Shin, the 2 of them also sensed that something was amiss. Why does Chun Shin's aura feel a bit too strong? Let's do it. At Zhang Haolin's command, the 2 men attacked simultaneously, flanking Chun Shin from both sides and giving him no chance to escape. Yu Tianyao also extended his left hand, and with a single move, the flying sword embedded in the black fiend tiger instantly flew up and attacked Chun Shin. A spiritual warrior? But that's a bit weak. Yu Tianyao is also a martial artist with dual martial arts. His blood and chi have reached the manifestation realm, but his spiritual martial arts are only at the mid-second stage. Chun Shin completely ignored the flying sword controlled by Yu Tianyao and swung his spear, forcefully slashing at Zhang Haolin. After activating the battle body, Chun Shin's strength had reached a staggering 140,000 Jin. Seeing the flaming spear piercing the air in front of him, Zhang Haolin's eyes widened suddenly. Incredible! He hurriedly raised his long sword, trying to block Chen Chen's brutal spear. However, the difference in strength was still too great. The moment the spear struck Zhang Haolin's longsword, the blade of Zhang Haolin's longsword immediately bent. Zhang Haolin's body was also slammed to the ground, creating a large crater. Zhang Haolin felt as if his internal organs had been injured by Chen Chen's shot. The muscles in his arms were completely torn apart, and blood seeped out from under his skin. His hands were covered in blood. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Then his pupils suddenly shrank as he looked up at Chen Chen in front of him, his face full of disbelief. That single, powerful shot had already rendered him practically incapable of fighting. Chapter 61 Great Harvest. At that moment, the flying sword controlled by Yu Tianyao also arrived behind Chen Chen, intending to pierce Chen Chen's body. However, when the long sword pierced Chen Chen's body at high speed, it was as if it had pierced an indestructible titanium alloy steel plate, producing a burst of sparks and only leaving a small white mark. It did not penetrate Chen Chen's defense at all. How is that possible? Yu Tianyao was shocked. His flying sword was a top-grade earthly realm weapon, crafted at great expense. How could it not even pierce Chen Chen's defense? Although his current spiritual martial arts are only at the mid-stage of the second tier, with the power of this flying sword, it can easily pierce through even the defense of a martial artist with 25 or more magic runes at the leather-patterned realm. But why is Chen Chen's physical defense so incredibly powerful? Having absorbed so many precious medicines and undergone the tempering of the heavenly martial treasure Ganoderma's medicinal power, Chen Chen's physical body had become far stronger than before. Moreover, he has now activated the battle body of enlightenment, and he has 28 demonic runes. He had previously reached the demon skin realm, and his defense in the way he trains his martial arts is already extremely strong. Chen Chen felt a slight stinging pain on his back and turned to look at Yu Tianyao, who was still in shock. Your turn. Using the wandering cloud steps, Chen Chen's body instantly transformed into a blur, while Yu Tianyao's right hand gripped his longsword, unleashing his own low-grade heavenly dome-level martial skill. Sword Shadow Shield. As Yu Tianyao brandished his longsword, 10 illusory sword shadows instantly surrounded him, forming a protective barrier. The next moment, Chen Chen's body flew to his side, raised the end of the spear high with one hand, and slammed it down forcefully. No matter how well you defend yourself, I will break through with my own strength. Chen Chen activated the Black Abyss armor, and his strength increased significantly once again, now reaching a total of 150,000 Jin. The tip of the fire-tipped spear instantly appeared above the sword shadow shield, piercing the shield like a divine weapon. It only lasted for 2 seconds before Chen Chen exerted his strength again, shattering the shield instantly. Its power remained undiminished as it struck Yu Tianyao below. Yu Tianyao was momentarily stunned when he saw that his proud sky-level martial skill had been broken so easily. In that instant, his right arm was pierced by Chen Chen's spear. It was firmly nailed to the ground. Then, Chen Chen's head moved slightly, and then he kicked out. A fist-sized rock on the ground shot out like a rocket, making a whooshing sound, and struck Zhang Haolin, who was preparing to escape in the distance. The stone hit the other person directly in the back, the powerful force sending him flying 2 or 3 meters away before he crashed heavily to the ground, face first into a mouthful of dirt. He spat out another mouthful of blood. He felt as if many of the bones in his back were broken. Then he took out the spear that had pierced Yu Tianyao's right arm, held the spear in one hand, and grabbed Yu Tianyao by the back of his collar with the other, dragging him to Zhang Haolin's side. The fact that you two came to me is the worst luck you could have ever had. Chen Chen sneered, and then directly took off the spatial ring from the other party's body. It just so happens that I don't have a spatial ring. Consider this spatial ring a gift from you all to me as a token of your filial piety. Hurry up and cancel the binding on the spatial ring. Otherwise you'll suffer even more in this desolate place. Besides, no one will notice anything here. Even if I kill you, no one will find out. As he uttered those last words, a murderous glint appeared in Chen Chen's eyes. He wasn't someone who had never killed anyone. Whether he was on Earth or in any of the myriad worlds, he had killed people. There was nothing he could do. It wasn't that he provoked others, but rather that others provoked him, so he could only passively retaliate. Seeing that Chen Chen's tone wasn't joking, the two of them panicked and hurriedly canceled the binding on their spatial rings, causing them to cough up blood again. After all, Canceling something that has already been bound to a master will result in the object itself suffering a backlash. Chen smiled, and then began to examine the contents of the two people's spatial rings. They were all useless things, including clothes and daily necessities. However, there are some good things as well. 3 bottles of mid-grade earthly